Hey, good morning everyone. Riley Foster here, Foster's Custom Steel. I'm working on some hand railings for the old home place. We went up this past weekend. Well, I say weekend, I've always gone up on the weekend, but now it doesn't matter. So we went up Monday morning and took up some more stuff that goes to the house and did a walkthrough and got the measurements for those hand railings, and that's what I'm working on now. I wasn't going to do a video on them because, well, if you've seen one hand railing, you've seen a lot. But several things I want to show you is, first of all, how I do these to where there's very little grinding and they stay nice and clean for the customer so that there's not sharp edges or something like that. And you don't want someone to get their foot or their hand hung on it. I'll show you a little bit what I'm talking about. Underneath here, I'll make these flush, these bars going through, and it's pre-punched channel. So I'll make these flush, and then any leftover gets left on the top, so it gets covered with a rail cap. So I'm going to weld these right quick. I'll show you. I just did a diagonal on these, and a lot of people may not know how to do this. If all your measurements are cut correctly, and mine are, thank you very much. And this works with lumber, steel, concrete, whatever. So even forms, if you're building forms. So right here I have got 54.5 inches on that diagonal. And if I come over here and I pull from that bottom of that shoe or that post, excuse me, and that's 54.5 inches exactly. I squared it up when I first started just to get it in the ballpark, and most of the time you can hit it really close. I also make sure when I look down, or to make these straight, because these do bend sometimes, I'll look down that rail when I first tack one or two together. That way it doesn't wander. Heat from the welder will pull these rails off, and you don't want to look down a rail and see that it's crooked. That ain't good work. So I'm going to weld these up right quick, and I'll be right with you. Go ahead and get that top side tacked in place, and I'll show you with the camera how nice and straight these turn out. What I was talking about up here. All right, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Nice and straight. And if you do this the correct way, which I like to say, hopefully I'm doing it the correct way anyway, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And you can look down through there, and that thing is nice and straight. That's the bottom bar. Now, a lot of people might not think you'll notice that, but once you get a job finished and you get it installed and someone looks down and says, well, why is that bar crooked? That don't bode well for a good job. So hold on 1 minute, I'll flip this up and we'll put a top cap on it. Hold on. All right, I got this thing in a vise, just kind of holding it up there face level so I can work on it. But this is what I was talking about. When I do these, I let those stubs stick up through. Now that's about 3/8 inch high, sticking up out of there. Now if that was sticking down in the bottom and someone goes and cleans the hand railings, their wipe rag or their fingers or whatever gets hung on those. So I do that. I don't know who else does that. I don't really care as far as some other company that does that. Again, it's just a good quality job. So the rail mold is what they call this. I'll put this on here. Now they make end caps. I have a architectural metal book. They make end caps, they make balls. You know what? You could go through that book a month and continue to see stuff you'd like to put on it. So I like to do just plain, nice, clean, well-made railings. I'll show you this shortly. These have to hit a corner. The railing at the bottom will bump to the square, but the railing part at the top has to be mitered. Again, you want it to look like someone knew what they were doing instead of ordering it from Lowe's, which, by the way, I don't recommend you order them from Lowe's. I'm gonna go ahead and weld this up, if I can find my gloves. I don't know where I'll put those gloves. So yeah, I'll get this welded up here and then I will show you underneath how it looks. So, all right, had to take just a minute. Somebody called me. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and weld these up and I'm gonna show you how nice and straight this is. This is just one small section. And again, I'm gonna turn that welder off. All right, now I'll show you these miters when I get ready to build the other section, and these will be welded together before they get painted, and I'll take them together as a one unit to the mountains and put them in there. But look at that. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, that's a professional job. I have been doing railings for, I guess, maybe 25, 30 years. I like to do good quality work. Now what will happen is that miter on this particular piece, excuse me, I will notch on a 45 the bottom rail and that top mold. Let me back that off so you get that in the camera. And that way there'll only be one spot that needs to be ground, and I will separate that by about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch. So when I weld it, the weld will get penetrated deep, and I will not have to do but very little grinding. I'll round this corner off nice and smooth. That's still toasty. Yeah, so again, the bottom, this will get bumped and the other rail will come out at a right angle. I'm going to weld feet on these. Normally I cement them in the ground. It's called a rail set. It's hydraulic grout or non-shrinking grout. But what I'm looking at here is these go into wood on the inside of the old home place. As kids growing up, there was no railings on the upstairs. Kids could have fallen off of there, and we probably did several times. But so to make it safe, we want to do a nice hand railing. So that is the first section of hand railing going into the house. It's 44 inches long, and it will go, well, I'll show you when I install it. All right, guys, remember to like, share, comment, and leave me some messages down there. I like to hear from you and hear your opinions, especially if they're good ones. So again, just remember, like, share, comment, ring the bell. I know, Karen. I got to say it's important to me. Thanks and have a great day.